They get U6, which is people who, in the last year, lost their unemployment because their benefits ran out. That's 13.5%. Long-term unemployment, people who are discouraged and they're out of the market for all intents and purposes, but they still exist as the unemployed, is 17.5%. So we're already deeply into the numbers that they were looking at during the 1930s. And, the figures vary for the 30s, but at the height it was 25 to 30%. This is going to be higher. We're looking at 35%. And so we're well on our way. And
that's horrendous.
It's horrendous. It's awful.
Oh, man. Well, the other thing, I hate to be such a gloom and doomer here, but,
these are only facts. This is the truth.
I understand that.
We're not gloom and doomers. We're just telling people the truth.
Well, I agree with you, but, a lot of folks seem to forget, and we've talked about this before on the program, and a lot of the financial gurus have mentioned this. Jim Rogers has mentioned it. Peter Schiff has mentioned it. Many others have mentioned it, that, when comparing the Great Depression of the 1930s, 1929, the crash, et cetera, I mean, compared to with what we have today, I mean, at least in those days, we didn't have, they didn't have all these mortgages. They didn't have credit card debt. We were still on a gold standard. People still owned the family farms. People did not have hybrid seeds that they were getting from demonic companies like Monsanto. I mean, the atmosphere, the conditions were so much different then than they are now. We had the infrastructure. We hadn't sold we still had a manufacturing base. We had a way to dig out of the Depression. Doesn't seem like we've got those options today. So if we do fall into depression, is there any hope of us digging ourselves out? I'm going to see if I get Bob Chapman's response to that question when we get back from this break. This is Dave and Joyce. This is the Monday edition of the Power Hour, and I apologize for telling you the truth. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Monday edition of the Power Hour. Coming up on 55 minutes past the hour, whatever hour you're sitting in, this is Dave and Joyce. We're talking with Bob Chapman here from the International Forecaster. Bob, again, give out the phone number and the contact information. How do people get your most valuable information?
Well, there's two ways they can do that. And the telephone number which you have there, that's what you've been given out, they will send you from Midas a copy, and the call-in number again is 877-479-8178. That's 877-479-8178, and that's toll-free. And if you'd like, you can visit our site on the Internet, and that address is theinternationalforecaster.com. The International, FORECASTER.com.
Okay. 877-479-8178 or theinternationalforecaster.com. Okay, I posed a question to you as we went into the break. I would love to get your response before we flat run out of time. Go ahead. I don't know if I want to hear the answer.
I forget what it was.
That's all right. I was relying on you. I would have to see if I can restate that. Yeah. I know you know what it is. Yeah, I threw the hot potato and you dropped it there. So, but okay.
But anyway, listen. All of these subjects that we've been covering this morning, I've covered the next issue, and some of the things that Jim Rogers and Peter Schiff and Jim Sinclair and other people who have been in the forefront with myself, exposing what's really going on behind the scenes. I think finally Wall Street is waking up. I'm talking about the people who are in Wall Street who are really not involved in the big decisions. They're saying, gee, maybe writers like Bob Chapman are right. Maybe all of the figures that are coming out of Washington are rigged, and they are. And I think that got shown late last week when the employment figures came out, and they're all bogus. And so the official figures that we've talked about on this program just now are fictitious, and the real figures are higher. Exactly what they are, we'll never know. And so the situation is even worse than when we're depicting it.
Well, figures never lie, but liars do the figures. And I remember what the question was. The question was, and during the Great Depression, at least we still had infrastructure. We had a way to dig ourselves out of the economic hole. We could make things. We had a huge manufacturing base that was in place. We did not have all these mortgages. Farmers still owned the land, and they still owned their homes. They owned their business. We didn't have all the credit card debt. The situation was a whole lot different. We had the tools. We had everything that we needed to actually rebuild and dig ourselves out of that financial hole. But none of that stuff is here this time. I mean, if or when we do fall into another greatest depression, which is what some people are calling it, how do we have any hope of ever being able to bail out of this thing, dig ourselves out, create wealth, and become the great nation that this once was?